Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies file 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.
Hey, folks, let's talk. That's right. Welcome to the program. Just us crapaholics. Let's talk. You know what a crapaholic is? If you regularly watch the program, like whoever it is that automatically gives me before the program begins 2 thumbs down, that's what you call a crap addict. They're just addicted to me, addicted to this program, crap. Culture, race, and American politics. Anyway, folks, welcome to the program. Do me a favor. Please like, share, follow, Rumble, whatever the case may be. We're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to talk. When I do this, it's you that gets to drive the program. So I watch across the different platforms. I pull them up, and you post your questions or your topics or whatever the case may be that you want to talk about as I kind of work my head around systems here. And you let me know. You let me know what it is that's important to you, what you want to talk about, etc. And let's just have a conversation, shall we, about what's going on, what's important to you. Hey, look, holiday's coming. You're probably freezing your booty off right now. It's cold outside. Here you go. I've got something for you. Now, I've got two for you. See the URL? The URL, which I'll give to you. See the URL there? Right? You can use the URL. And I want to change the timer. Let me see if I can edit the timer. I don't want the timer to go. There you go. We'll save the timer there. They got a new feature in there that makes the timer kind of run off too soon. The website is cbdistillery.com. This is for promo code Jovan. You can use the website, or you can actually just use your phone, take a picture with your phone, or take a picture with your camera, and you can just zap the code on your screen, and it will automatically take you there. I know you're probably getting ready, and I know that many of you are probably freezing. Are a lot of you guys having absolutely cold weather? And I'm looking at the temperatures at different times. I'm in the mountains. It's always freezing, but it's going to go even faster down. Evidently, we have some sort of El Nino effect. What I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, what I understand is it's going to push an Arctic vortex down. It's going to hit fairly hard. And then when it moves past, it's going to be much milder. So you may have a much milder holiday than what it seems you might have right now. Anyway, here's what I've got for you, because I know these holidays are hectic. I know there potentially is going to be a lot of family drama. There's definitely going to be a lot of political drama. We're going to talk about it. Last minute shopping going on, late night scrambling and getting ready. Some places already tell me it's 8 below for them. We're about neck and neck there. So the holidays can make it feel like an endurance test. That's why I'm sharing the ultimate holiday survival plan, CBD from CB Distillery. Seriously, everything you need for a merry holiday, or for merry on this merry holidays here. You can stuff mom's stocking with CBD for better sleep. Give your buddies that might work out, whatever the case with you, hunt with you. Pain relief stick for that, pain after getting out and exercising. And don't forget to grab a little holiday calm for yourself. Every CB Distillery product is made with premium quality clean ingredients, no fillers, nothing artificial, and with over 2 million customers and 100% money back guarantee. It's the gift you can keep giving. Now, I can tell you how much I love it. I regularly do. I tell you about the roll-on. I keep them handy everywhere, right? There you go. Okay. That's the bomb right there. But ask people in chat. They'll tell you. Some are gummies. Some are the pain roll-ons. I'm telling you, it's the bomb. So this year, give yourself, everyone on your list, a gift of better sleep, less stress, and pain relief from CB Distillery with CBD. You know, your promo code's different. It's Rumble. Not my name, not Jovan. It's Rumble. Use that code and you'll get 25% off your entire purchase. Visit cbdistillery.com. Enter promo code Rumble for 25% off. That's cbdistillery.com. Some of the products vary, depends upon your state and your state's regulations. Stuff works. There you go. Scan it. Scan it, baby. And go right there. And also today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Gold Co. Yep. How about you head to JovanLovesGold.com. Do you like my program I did on gold? Did you know that bit of history about how the government forced people to turn in their gold? A lot of people love that program. History's the key. Anyway, I'm just asking you to go to JovanLovesGold.com. Please, 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 please request your free gold and silver kit today, because now's the time to protect your money with gold and silver. You might even qualify to get a bunch of free silver, right? Put your questions in chat. That's where I'll see them. I'll give you an example. Poll in Oregon says uses your signature on driver's license to match it to your vote. The problem is they make you sign a digital machine and your signature's different. You're right. You know, that's part of the hack poll. Here's the deal. They make you sign that little bitty square. It's a truncated signature. That is part of the hack. Why? Because it makes you sign, in some cases, significantly different than you normally would. And they add that to your file with your voter registration card. And in some states, part of the bullshit rig they do with signatures is they're allowed to search all public documents, anything you've ever signed with the state or the county, even your credit card. You know how you just scribble? Yeah, they'll include that. And now they have this wide array of signatures. They say, well, we just use the signatures they use. We don't want to miss one. We don't want to hurt their vote. And what it does is it allows any signature to pass for your vote. Yep, it's rigged. Well, this type of program is called Time to Talk. All you need to do is figure out what you want to talk about. Cody asked, are our elections going to be secure by 2026? No. GOP made sure of that. No. Not at all. Nothing. Zero. Nothing changed. Think how long we've been fighting this. Nothing, 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 nothing has changed. And there you go. If you ask, and if I can tell you, and I have an answer that I can actually answer for you, I'll give you an answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll tell you I don't have an answer. And so that's what this is. Come on, crapaholics. Join me and let's talk. Even if you just want to talk gardening or hunting or fishing or how to manage an anaconda. I know, I'm a pro. Let's get started.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, folks, let's just talk. I want to take you back to probably not even a week ago, and I told you in advance, be very careful. There's going to be Christmas attacks. Do you remember me posting that? I said, here's what's going on. There's going to be Christmas attacks. You'll hear about Nigeria, but it's planned everywhere. You remember that? It happened in Australia, a place called Bondi Beach. Bondi Beach. It was specifically designed to attack Jews, and it was this student, Naveed Akram. There's unchecked immigration for you. 12 people dead. 12 people dead. I told you it was coming. Some of them might be a little lesser. You might have noticed this one. And UK villages. This Christmas tree was planted to honor 152 men from that one village who died in World War I. And the papers are even afraid to say it. They said mindless thugs. That's not what it is. They cut down that living memorial because it was offensive. And yes, the one at Australia, the celebration in Bondi Beach, was Hanukkah on the beach. I told you it's coming. And as we find out about this Australian attack again and again and again and again and again and again and again, the authorities were told this is coming. This anti-Semitic rhetoric's coming up. Here you go. By the way, I think many podcasters around the world, when you buy into that bullshit, it's the Jews, you have blood on your hands. You're helping facilitate this because even the terrorists go, well, the Christians agree too. We got to get rid of the Jews. And this kind of crap happens. In fact, they also just foiled one in Germany. They caught that. But it's the Jews. All same common denominator. All same common denominator. It's coming. I'm telling you. I told you in advance. It should be zero tolerance. They do not take it. That's why they say, well, you're an Islamophobe, you're racist, and then people back off. And that's how they enable this. Bondi. Zod, am I saying that right? Nice to see you back, Zod. Zod is actively protesting the Australian government right here by doing this. Bondi. Okay, thank you. Yes, authorities should be held for it. But I told you, and it's coming. I'm going to, over here, let me see real quick. Somebody asked over on Getter, Trump's not going to declassify anything. He's going to release some data that has been found. I understand the people politicking this. It's not necessarily a declassification. You're going to see a lot of focus on it was amazing. That was by design and by plan. And it's not a reflection on President Trump. It's a reflection of the people around him that continued to politic him and get the system to continue to focus on the machines. Let me look over another platform. Hang on. Hold on. 1 second. Somebody asked, somebody said Ivan Raiklan was saying send in the SEALs for Tina Peters. Let's talk about that for a moment. I know Ivan personally, but that particular sentiment is wrong. Let me tell you why it's wrong. And you're seeing it many places. Think of the people saying this. The first person that was out saying it, where is it? Maybe I have it. Hold on. Let me see if I have it. I'll show you some of the stuff being said. I may have it. Give me a moment. I in no way agree with this. But I actually think in my heart of hearts, this is an operation going on. I probably got it somewhere else. Hang on. I think there currently is, in my opinion, an operation going on trying to get people. Here's one. And here's the other. We track amplification. We watch where these things originate. We watch how people respond. And then we watch where it goes from there. You may have seen, I hope not, because if you're watching it, you're wrong. And if you're watching him, you're wrong. But here's kind of the bullshit that's being promoted.
We got to do something about it. And frankly, I think violence is probably the only solution at this point, because right now they lie with such authority and ignore the stuff of stealing elections. And we already have enough information. There should already be military tribunals. There already should be that. Tina Peters should be out of prison right now. She should not have to serve another day there. And you know what it's going to take? I think it's going to take somebody doing something very drastic, a group of people doing something drastic to let them know that they don't have any peace. So maybe we do that. Maybe we have 50,000 people that show up to Tina Peters' benefit, that stand out and shake the walls around Polis and this corrupt piece of trash, Phil Weiser. Maybe that's the answer.
Let me hang on. Let me just show you this other one first.
How do we get Tina out? Let's let's work the problem for a minute. Do we get 20,000 people? Do we surround the house of Jared Polis? Do we literally shake down the walls around him?
I think we have to get loud.
I think all these people should be tried for treason and hung. I think Jared Polis should be hung. I think Jenna Griswold should be hung. I think Phil Weiser should be hung. I think they should hang by their neck until dead. I think they've committed treason and that this is seditious behavior against the United States, and they have literally held hostage all the people in the state of Colorado.
Okay. Jerome Corsi called for this on Steve Stern's election integrity call, maybe one or two back. He said the same thing. The military needs to be sent in. Ivan Raiklan, as you're putting here, said that you need to send in the SEALs. Let me explain something to you. Get ready, mark my words. This is a way to guarantee President Trump, after the midterms, when they impeach him, goes to prison. Just letting you know. 100% letting you know. Chapstick, I forget, somebody said something. I pinged you a few times back. Hang on. No, Little Dove. Little Dove, will you explain your comment so I can see what you're saying over on Rumble? You made a comment. Somebody admitted on Lindell TV. Anyway, I need you to explain that comment. Here's what's going on. Tina is in prison, in my opinion, because of what other people, thank you, Little Dove, Tina is in prison for what other people did and what other people set her up to be part of. The physical acts that they said, releasing the password or, hacking the database or whatever, was all other people, not Tina personally. And so this roadshow of It's the Machines, and I don't know why you can't see it, period. Tina Peters is on record in interviews saying nothing was wrong with my elections. It's on record. She got introduced to Dr. Frank by Sharona Bishop. Said, you got to meet this guy, you got to meet this guy, got to meet this guy. Mike Lindell put Dr. Frank on the road. That was one of the 745 appearances he made. Sharona introduced Dr. Frank to Tina. Tina told him, I have nothing wrong. He said, and Dr. Frank said, in a published interview, I just want to find a place that has no problems, that's a hardcore Republican territory led by a great Republican. He's on record. He did an interview. I think it's The Atlantic. That great conservative supporting bullshit? No way. Anyway, and so Sharona introduces Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank gets to meet with Tina. Tina, again, says nothing's wrong. Then she goes to a seminar, forces her people to go to a seminar. He says, well, it is. She says, my people don't believe anything's wrong. And then I just want to try my theory. And Tina says, well, I don't have or can't get that information. He says, this is on the record recorded and you're not paying attention. Well, I have people that can get it. Don't worry. Wink, wink. They know how to get it. And all those people did that, not Tina Peters. The Cyber Symposium did not present you PCAPs. Planned for a month and a half or whatever in advance. Never gave you PCAPs. You didn't find out till 2 years later they never had them. I told you they never had them. So what was the Cyber Symposium about? Well, magically became the Tina Show. And you're not even paying attention. You can't even connect the stupid ass dots. And so, yes, Tina went to prison for what others did. What others did. I'm not saying the machines aren't wrong, and I'm not saying the machines aren't screwed up. I'm saying there's a psychological operation going on. And then all the boo-boos that set up Tina, all of the things, I want you to think about the things that the media used against Tina. The AG of Colorado said, we raided her office and home. She knew we were coming and she escaped out of state. What was that? That was Mike Lindell sending his plane for Tina to come watch his cyber symposium. So was that Tina? No. How did the state know that Tina was going to be gone then? How'd they know? Convenient, don't you think? Then you get to the cyber symposium. Tina, this has all been verified on the ground. Tina did not want to speak no matter what. She was not there to speak at all. And when it comes to the point, they're going to talk about the PCAPs, and the code monkey comes on to talk about the PCAPs. What he does is switches it to Tina Peters because they'd already coaxed Tina up on stage. The same people, Colonel Sean Smith, Mark Cook, same people. So Tina's there talking about, she thinks there is now something wrong with her county. They're telling her something's wrong with her county, even though she said no. They hacked into her county. And magically, few things happened. On this big television broadcast that everybody was glued to, Mr. Monkey says, I've been told by my attorney that this drive was stolen and it could be a crime and I'm not going to talk about it. That was for the benefit of TV, folks. How convenient, right? And then that same fellow is the one that released the password online, made sure he released all of it. It wasn't Tina, it was him. And Dr. Frank, there is no 6-degree polynomial. It's bullshit. It was bullshit to shit in your mind. And now here Tina sits in prison. So few of you hold Mike Lindell and those guys accountable for that. You can't even see it. You can plot it out. It's the same people for all of it. But he's protected. You know, that little cross on the outside of your shirt keeps people from criticizing you. It means they're bad if they criticize you. You ever thought about that? That cross is for you, not for him. Anyway, so Tina went to prison for what others did. She did her part of the job right. They convinced her they needed to see it. And because they were in her orbit and got it, they committed the crime. Tina went to prison. And now they're all going to be her saviors and whatever. What are those people saying? What's the origin stories of all this stuff? The origin story is the fake Antifa call. But those same people spend all their time, free Tina, free Tina, free Tina, like the heroes. They're covering for it. They got her in prison. That's the bottom line. They got her in prison. And then only you find out 2+, 2.5, whatever years later, there was never any PCAPs. It was a lie. Well, if this whole thing was about the PCAPs, how did the cyber symposium, everybody watch it, going to see 3,000 counties? You're going to see every county. You're going to have every lawmaker walk in. They're going to be able to take them back to their people. They're going to be able to test them. They go, oh my God, that never happened. They never had it. That was a setup for Tina. And they did it. And now the guys that play like, oh, freer, freer, freer. She's not benefiting from that money. You ever think about that? And now people, the very people say they're protecting her. We've got to send in the SEALs. We've got to send in the military. We've got to do this. Who goes down for that one? President Trump. Has nothing to do with Tina Peters. Everything that the left has tried to sell their people, no King's Day, he's a dictator, right? He overrides rule of law. He's breaking our democracy. You hear the left saying it, and then you hear the right saying the same thing, but disguised differently. We've got to go bust Tina out. That's breaking the rule of law. That is what a dictator would do to his allies. He wants to send in the National Guard to help in cities. They're saying he weaponized the military. What do you think would fucking happen if somebody's stupid enough to send in somebody to break out Tina Peters? It will verify the story of the left. How can you not see that? How can you not see that? It's the same classic setup. They seed a point. Like we'll take Colonel Sean Smith. We'll take Mark Cook. We'll take Joe Altman. They were all at January 6th. You never hear any of that. They didn't get locked up. In fact, the one fellow who supposedly has this United in Education and Christianity told his people to come that were running the states, you got to be there. You got to protest. Those people got locked up and sued. He didn't. Have you ever just thought about that? Have you ever just thought about that one thing? But see, people are too lazy to control the dots. And you're right, Dove. A lot of people were there. They didn't get arrested. Who told you in December of 2020, please and beg you, do not go to January 6th, no matter what, do not go. It's a setup. I did. I told you, I begged you. I told you to spread it. I told you there's something brewing, it's going on. It is a setup. Do not go there. Same people who are supposed to be saving Tina got OAN sued for billions. Fox sued for billions. Michelle Malkin off the air. Think about that. And so here they're fighting for Tina, and you hear something as immature and stupid as send in the military, send in the SEALs. What they're doing is they're planting a seed, and it's called a push-pull. They are pushing it out to the public to get enough people saying it, people that are immature and don't understand what's going on, to try to build the groundswell that they pull the president through. This is what the people want. You have the power. In the last 2 weeks of President Trump's first presidency, I am trying to get him to sign an executive order to confirm that all of the materials that are supposed to be kept for 22 to 24 months can be used for audits. And you got to have access to that original material. That is the executive order I'm trying to push. Cipollone in the White House, the big counsel at the time, told President Trump, you can't have that data. That has people's voter registration information and stuff on the ballot. You can't have that. And they talked him out of it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And so, okay, I mean, you told me that Ivan did that. I don't agree with that. I think it's immature, and I think it hands to the deep state is exactly what happens. Because here's what becomes the story. If any militia, it's interesting that one podcaster is a leader of a militia. People don't talk about that. Organizer of the state's largest militia, they don't talk about that. Peter Tickton should not be repeating it. Peter Tickton even says sending in U.S. Marshal is likely the only way to get Tina out. They can't do it. If they do anything of force, President Trump's done in for. Of any way. I would rather see they need to interview her in a secure location to ask her questions about the federal part of her election. You understand what I just said? We want to interview her regarding the federal component of her election. Remember, Tina has state and federal components of her election. I would basically say, and let me give you an example. When you make comments or bloody threats, don't do that. They'll try to use that. Be very careful what you say these days. But my personal strategy would be I would park a mobile skiff outside the prison. That's a secure, soundproof conference room. I'd make a big deal out of it that we are going to interview Tina regarding the federal components of her election. And I would go to the prison and I would park a mobile skiff. I would get her in that mobile skiff to be interviewed about the federal part of it. And I would imagine she might have something to say that's relevant, that they would basically we immediately need to put her in witness protection and take her to a secure location, because we're worried about her health and she's going to be killed before we can finish this investigation. So we've seized her for investigation, and drive that skiff off. Yes, the left will scream. But you got to get her into a federal piece. And you got to be willing when you say things like send in the Wolverines. Don't you understand the left watches this? Maybe funny. You understand they're tracking this. People will hear that, say it, and repeat it. You got to be very careful what you're saying. But that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And that would be within the president's purview. That would be within that, hell, put her in an armed Air Force, armed jet to bring her in for federal questioning. I'm telling you, people that are telling you got to send in the military, got to send in the militia, got to raise people, are not angling for Tina, but it would very likely end up getting President Trump in prison physically himself, because then they would be able to say, see, he was a dictator. See, we told you he was going to use the military. See, we told you he doesn't go by rule of law. So who's playing for who? That's how it. There are other people that are January 6ers that are still in prison. Unfortunately, I know a little bit more than you know. And I can tell you, I kind of understand why, and it's more of a complicated issue than you could imagine. Do they have it right? Maybe on half of them, they don't have it right on the others. One of the people that is still in prison, though pardoned, knows too much dirt on previous stuff. And that's why they don't want that one person released. And it has nothing to do with January 6th. It has to do with previous stuff. Right? That's it. Here's the nuance. It depends how their charges came down. If they were charged exclusively federally, then President Trump has absolute right to spring them immediately. If they were charged at the state level, not federally, President Trump can't do a thing. It's solely up to the governor. That's the law. That's the law. But that whole crap, it's the machine, Tina Peters. People gave over $10 million to that. To that lie. So I am 100% against the impression of a breakout that is militia or military or whatever, that money went to Mike Lindell. Militia, military, any of that. Because, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to stand with our president, even though I know Tina and I love Tina, and I tried to warn Tina. And the moment I started warning Tina, people swarmed her and got her away from me and made sure she never talked to me. But if it comes down to Tina Peters and President Trump and our country, I'm standing by President Trump, because you get one military action there, it proves everything the left said, and we're over. If that makes me a heretic, then I'm a heretic. I also told Tina right up front, and all I got for it was cut off from Tina, banned from Tina. And who was her comforter during this time? Mark Fincham, the very lawmaker in Arizona that said I was a fraud, don't let Jovan do it, and whatever. The very first one to come out. We had to put him on cease and desist. Is that a coincidence? And now he has a big election integrity institute or something, which is bullshit. So if I had to make a choice, my country and President Trump versus Tina Peters in prison, God forbid she die, I choose my country and President Trump. I'm not going to contribute to anything that validates the story that the left has promoted, that the right's getting you to embrace. But see, they always use symbolism. The left harps on President Trump. He's a dictator. He's using the military. He's controlling people, which is bad to do. The right says it in a different way. Oh, Tina Peters, Gold Star mom. Oh, get her out. We got to go break her out. She's been pardoned. I'm just telling you, in my book, it's a con. It's a con to set up something that, if it's done, can never be pulled back. And that's what will go down to history. That President Trump did, in fact, use the military. But yet nobody looks at the real story. Why aren't you pissed at Altman and Colonel Sean Smith and Mark Cook and the Dolphin speakers and Mike Lindell and Dr. Frank, who created it to begin with? Why are you not screaming at them? Well, that's right. They're the ones raising money for Tina Peters. Free Tina, free Tina. I call bullshit. That's just my personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. I see it unfolding before my eyes. You already know that the watermark and ballots will do nothing because you can't see the physical ballots. You also know that the watermarks don't get caught by the machines. Yeah, I've got 4 thumbs down now. Thank you, guys. Okay, I mentioned a name you love. Okay. Those watermarks going to solve a thing? Shit, no. Are they probably going to end up going to each state? Yes, they are. But they don't tell you that the politicians get a commission for them. That's, if anything I've learned, that's how this game works. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. And you probably say, where are the really big voices calling this out? They get paid too much to not call it out. They're afraid, and many times to address these things, which are just painfully honest. Look, I get banned for this too. I get punished for this too. I've already been told we're going to ruin you if you name names and other things. It's the way it is. It's just the way it is. But aren't we doing the same thing? If Antifa and BLM go into a city and break down stores and light them on fire and steal things, and we have a right to do it, it was whatever, and it's excused, isn't it to the right? Well, yeah, we're going to go send in the military prison, take people out, whatever. They only need one person dead. By the way, in case you didn't know why they only need one person dead, you got that on January 6th. You can see all the evidence. They just needed one person to make a wrong mistake to sell their story. Do you understand? Why would you give it to them? I just don't agree with it. It makes me unpopular. It makes me unpopular. But there's a significant difference in me. I'm fighting for my country. I'm fighting for my children. I'm fighting for my grandchildren. And frankly, I don't give a fuck what you think, because it's not a popularity contest. And so, yeah, I'm not on the special state committee here, and I'm not at the special party here, and I'm not this here. And okay, that doesn't change my life or make my life. Why? Because you can take my name out of it and you can audit my work, and I'm bang on in documentation, which I have no say in. It's just the audit. Here's what it says. And we proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so for me, just for me, this is about America. This is just about America. Nothing else. And they'll call me all kinds of names. That failed treasure hunter, that failed this, that failed that. They'll talk about, Q codes and QCAT and stuff like that. Fucking, it's 25 years after the event, 26 years after the event, and they're fucking collector's items and in museums and still being bought, sold, trade today. And by the way, if it was such a stupid idea, right? Why does every fucking company in the world use it to get you information? That's it. That's it. Nothing, folks, nothing in our world is real. Us getting together and sharing with each other is real. But I don't think we have a good life or a safe life if we lie and go along with it. That's the book 1984. It tells you what happens and how it works. Why would anybody agree to that? But here's the deal. People need to be told what to think. The system, folks, I never realized it was this bad, but the system is like wankadoodle. And the only thing I learned in fighting all of this is it's worse than you think. It's just so much more worse than you think. If you want to be wealthy in politics, you got to agree to lie. Yeah, if you haven't read the book 1984, if you didn't read it in school, get it. I'm actually rereading it myself. I have to think that, right, the Hunger Games are coming. Yeah, let's deal with this. So Cheryl said, I commented on Altman's podcast, told him maybe your forensic audit would validate what the machines. He responded, told me, shut up. Jovan is a fraudulent piece of shit. I'm not interested in connecting with a Fed fraud. Do you understand that? Okay. You don't see me sitting with somebody that's an ex-FBI agent, and I'm a whistleblower, and I'm this. And let's analyze that. Let's analyze that just for a minute. Let's analyze that comment. The Antifa call has been proven in court that he infiltrated it and said it was a lie, said they could do this and do that. In fact, you can read the deposition in it and you will find out the real person who did it. It was all made up and twisted, brought him into power. Okay, he says, I'm a fraud. Would a fraud show you the exact stats? I just got a question. Am I the stupidest fraud on the planet that I will show to you exactly what happened? Is that what makes me a fraud? Because I show you the truth, show you how it works, show you what goes on. You can audit me. You can audit everything I say. Is that what makes me a fraud? I just want you to think about that for a minute. What makes me a fraud in their eyes is I won't go along with their shit. That's what makes me a fraud. Is I tell you, this is bullshit. Your brain is being screwed, and here's how you can verify it yourself. Is that what makes me a fraud? If that's what makes me a fraud, then we fucking need more frauds. Oh. But that's all they got. I offered to talk to every one of these people and show them the numbers and go through it. And all they can do is avoid, block, and not go on and call me names. Why do they do that? Because that's all they've got. It's psychological warfare. That's all they've got. That's all they have. I understand that. I understand that. They're upset because I say, hey, if you're supposed to be this big old data expert and you're supposed to be this incredible person and you're supposed to have done this, why is it your partners do it, you don't do it, and you came in later to it, they were already doing it. They just don't like you to know the exact facts. But I understand this game. I just would never choose to take any amount of money to betray my country. And they know they can't trust me. You know why they know they can't trust me? They know if I popped up one day and said, okay, it's $1 billion, here you go, and I'll shut up. They just know I would weaponize that $1 billion against them in a different way and get to the same place. It's just like people telling you, well, there was, Jovan's reports, there were no truth in the reports. You have to ask, okay, what's your angle? Because we've all seen the proof. What's the angle? It's a game of repeat the lie, and enough people will believe the lie and they will spread it. I'm reverse. Here it is. Look at it. Here's what it says. Here's what it's done. Now decide for yourself. Those are two different school of thoughts. And I'm just not wired the other way, and I understand it. It's what happens. Let's see what other questions we've got. I know I've missed them. many. Yeah, you can't fight the forensics. You cannot fight the forensics because I'm not the one saying it. The paper says it, not me. There's no opinion in it. There's no opinion in it. It's just facts. And they can't debate facts. So they want you to play in a world that's non-provable. Let me give you a refresher on this, if that's okay. Let me find it. Hang on. Let me get my eyeballs on. Bear with me. We're just going to do a refresher. That's it. We're just going to do a refresher. And let me see if I can find it. Wait. I think it's here. And hold on. Here it is. Okay. We're going to do a refresher. Okay. We're going to do a refresher. The refresher I'm going to use. Somebody says, what's your favorite liquid hallucinogen alcohol beverage? It's called a bee's knees. And one of you guys mentioned it a while back. I never had it. I made one, and it's the frickin' bomb. So I adore what is called the bee's knees. It's a gin and lemon juice drink with honey. Freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. My preferred drug of choice, sex. I don't get drunk. I don't get stoned. I don't take drugs. I'm not willing to sacrifice my brain. Okay. Since we're talking about Tina Peters, and since you know that Mike Lindell sent Dr. Frank to 745 cities. One of those cities was Tina Peters. Dr. Frank said, I need to test my theory. I need a clean Republican area in a typically Republican state in a Republican county. That was Tina Peters. Why do you not see Tina Peters is the ultimate target? Nice looking woman, very smart, tough, gold star mom, husband on his deathbed. They chose her. Why'd they choose her? Because if they can make you look at her, who is squeaky clean, good as gold, you're not looking at them. So let's go back in it. I gave you this. This is just a refresher. I always give you the facts, and you make up your own mind. So Dr. Frank, who got paid to go on the road to 745 cities, swears he's not paid. Do you know how much money it takes to get around to 745 cities? Do you think it's for free? Did somebody pay to have forensics boosted in 745 cities? Going to put you on the road teaching everybody this? No. Here's what they taught you. You make your own decision based on these facts. Dr. Frank's quote is a sixth-order polynomial algorithm was used to manipulate voter turnouts across 3,000 U.S. counties, ensuring predetermined election outcomes. That is the actual quote. I think there's about 3,300 counties in the United States. Here's the quote. This is all we audit against. We audit against, just like it's for the county, we audit against what they say. Okay? So here you go. Ready? A sixth-order polynomial algorithm, which you probably never heard of in your life, okay, was used to manipulate voter turnout across 3,000 U.S. counties, ensuring a predetermined election outcome. So that's what you measure against. Here's what a sixth order polynomial looks like. It's a mathematical expression, and it's very funny, right? Some of the people say, well, there wasn't really anything in Jovan's reports. Well, it's just too simple. It's whatever. I know the racket. So I refuse to talk to you in empirical math, which I can do and show and prove. And I refuse to talk to you 100% in forensic terms because people will tune out. But they do get wild at new terms. So here it is. A sixth order polynomial. This is what you need to know. Okay? A polynomial is a mathematical expression involving a sum of powers of a variable, often used to model relationships between variables. I can look at this and we can look at this. A sixth order polynomial, also called a sixth degree polynomial, has the following form. There's the form. That is the mathematical equation, and I gave it to you both ways so you can see it. You know me, I'm always going to give it to you both ways. That's why I flip you over. But you understand what I'm saying? Here it is. This is a sixth degree polynomial. Now, let me ask you a question. Anybody understand or is at this degree of math? Be honest. Be honest. Is there anybody on this program that is at this level of math? Of course not. But even those mathematicians that can do this won't debate me. So that's what they told you. Now, let me tell you, now you've in order, remember it's variables, the relationship between things, the relationship between variables. So what you do is basically you decide, okay, these are the variables, meaning these are the elements, right? I'm going to show you the elements that he used. Basically, he claimed to come up on his formula, here's what he used. He claimed he had access to the voter registration data from state election offices, which include the voters' names, address, and voting history, and whether somebody voted in 2020. Now, let me ask you a question. This came out when he started saying this and was introduced to the world by Mike Lindell. We're only talking about 60 days out from the election. Now, let me ask you just a very simple question. Are you ready? Right now, you see a lawsuit pushing back on President Trump in Michigan, basically saying, screw you, we're not going to give you the voter rolls and who's on it. That's President Trump, and that's going on right now. However, you are led to believe that one man, all of you have been fighting on your own in election integrity. You are, to even believe there's a polynomial, you have to believe, remember the statement is, here's the statement, remember the statement, across 3,000 counties. So he's able to confirm it across the United States. The first thing you have to believe, and it says, and whether somebody voted in 2020. The rolls are available in most states through access, though access varies, some require purchase or file request. Did anybody 60 days after the 2020 election have the voter information and voter rolls from all of the states to show how they voted in 2020? We're doing a full forensic audit in Maricopa, and we didn't get that till maybe May of 2021. But yet in February of 2020, he's saying he personally has this. Answered the question, did anybody have all of the voter rolls from the registration state of all the states, because you got to get to 3,000 counties, that had all voter names, all voter ages, and all voter history, even if they voted in 2020? Well, the answer is no. So you measure against that. The second measure you measure against is he said he used the 2010 census data. the shortcut for that is I'm going to look at what was said 10 years ago to determine what happened today. He said he used age-based population estimates from the 2010 census, interpolated to 2020 to account for aging and population changes. This provides the number of eligible voters by age in each county. Let me ask you a question. Did any fucking person of any age die between 2010 and 2020? Let's see, people don't think about these things. The next thing is, he said, get ready, certified election results. The ballot counts by county from county election websites, focusing on turnout by age where available. A third of the states, 60 days out, still hadn't released that. But see, nobody checks the data. So that's what he said he used. Now we'll go to the next one. Okay? In order for him to make the determination, he had to have a key, right? His keystone that would do it all. Well, here's the keystone that he said enabled him to put it all together. 4 large county in Michigans. There are 3,300 plus counties in the United States of America. His formula is I looked at 4 counties. Now, this kind of contradicts it, right? Because he said he did every county. He got every voter roll and whatever. But when he's asked exactly what'd you get, he says, well, I actually looked at 4 counties, 4 large counties in Michigan. See, if you don't know how to audit, you believe this bullshit. Here's his quote. Across 3,000 counties in the U.S. Here it is. We looked at the variables. Here are our variables. We got all of this data. And then when you pin them on it, well, let's look at the county data. Then if you got it all, well, he says, well, it's 3 or 4 large turnouts. And what he did is he used percentages. And that's what created his polynomial. And then he scaled it to the other counties, and he asserts a near perfect correlation between 99%. And he also knows there's 30% phantom voters. He used that from Pennsylvania. So this that they claimed is all bullshit. This is, I looked at Pennsylvania for 1 canvas, and then I looked at 4 counties, and I did this. It's all bullshit, but people get dazzled. Oh, fuck, I can't read that. He must be a big math brain. Okay. And so what he did to apply his theory, you got to understand, in science, this is science, it must be testable, verifiable, testable, repeatable, and then verifiable. And so you actually have to say, here's his application of theory, which he says, I want to try to prove. Can we find a red state and a perfect red county with a perfect person who will let me prove my theory? That was Tina Peters. She's sitting in prison. He said he looked at the claims in swing states. He looked at the down ballot races, and he speculated that the voting machines or tabulators are connected. No shit. It's never been against the law. So here it is, right? But he says it's 99% exact. Now, this is the person that Mike Lindell put on the road. Because wow. Oh my God, you must be smart. You wear a bow tie. So let me give you the math. See, since you can take, number 1, across 3,000 counties, since you can understand the variables that he did to create the 6th order, you take the variables, here's the variables, you take them and you put them in, and then basically you submit that to advanced mathematicians. Okay, here's all the data, here's the data points, here's what it is. And required by the rule of law, the Daubert principle, is it must be verifiable first, good data. It must be testable, it must be able to be tested, and it must be repeatable in that test. Well, here's the numbers that you never get told. The chances of his being accurate just on his formula, it has a fraud detection ability of 0.005%. Okay, but he was still right. Maybe it wasn't fraud, but he was still right. They did it. Well, here's the next level. One is what are the chances he can prove an algorithm? There's the math, folks. The next thing is, well, what are the chances that he's accurate? Well, here you go. It's a 1 in 1 trillion chance he's accurate. Anybody tell you that? How about this? If you look at the chances of being accurate and you want to validate it, the conservative validate, the only part is he may have a 1 in 1 million chance for a 1,000th fraction, 1/10 of 1,000% success. Now, you take all of these science disciplines and you put it into, okay, because each of those is an individual science discipline. Chance of being accurate when it comes to a validated algorithm, chance of being accurate that it can confirm down to the county level, chances of you can take it and give an estimate. Those are the 3 mathematical principles. Then you say, okay, what are actually the odds of all of this? It means I got a chance, right? Here you go. 1 in 80 billion. Let me say it a different way. Mike Lindell pays for this guy to go to 745 cities, claiming he's the Messiah and he has predicted exactly what happened and he can prove it to 99% in 3,000 counties. Tina bought into it. After saying no, Tina bought into it. And what she didn't know she was getting was a 1 in 80 billion chance. You know what was 100% possible in it? That if she let him in, she'd end up in prison. Where is she? This is why none of them will come on and discuss this. You can take those charts I just gave you, you can refeed them into any mathematical program, any artificial intelligence, and you will get the same. So let me ask you a question. Who in the hell thought it was wise to put somebody on the road that has a 1 in 80 billion chance of being accurate? Well, let me ask you a question. You've got to understand it was not ever about being accurate. It was inserted into every single election lawsuit. It tells you about 70% proof that the machines are controlled, which they are, combined with 20% BS to deceive you. Now, let me ask you a question. What attorney, what court, what financier of spending millions on lawsuits would stick something in their lawsuits and put them on the road for 745 engagements and never have it verified or looked at? See, this is the indicator. It was never about what could be verified. It was never about what could be accurate. That's why nobody cross-vetted it, checked it, and verified that he was correct. So what was the mission? To get 745 engagements across basically every county in the United States to tell you the machines did it. When you focus on the machines, it's a misdemeanor. If they changed 50 million votes, it's one singular misdemeanor and a $1,000 fine. If they change 50 million ballots, it's 100 million cases of fraud. 100 or 50 million on the state side, 50 million on the federal side. Now you understand why they stay away from the paper. And so this is what's happened in all of this. And these aren't, if I had to look back at it now, let me ask you a question. Just an honest question I want you to answer in chat. If the state came out, if the country came out, the Election Assistance Commission, for the 2020 election, for the very first time in history, even before the counts were counted, what did they say? The safest, most secure election ever. Now, let me ask you a question. If the election count wasn't even done yet, why did they start out like the Good Morning America type tours, telling America it was the safest, most secure election ever? Because they needed to feed that piece through a source to the media so the media could start repeating it. Why? Because they knew as soon as somebody looked, it would be done. So what did they do? They planted the first seed. Or did they? No. Actually, they planted the second seed. Actually, they planted the third seed. What was the second seed? What was the first seed? Anybody remember the very, very first seed? The first seed was planted by a fellow by the name of Russ Ramsland. And what he planted was, all of your votes go to Germany. They have a separate server. They change the votes. They send them back. Quote, we looked at every company's software and we were able to find it. Now, does anybody have all the voting company softwares? No. So why was a guy saying that in 2016, 17, they had all the software, they did this and did that and did this and did that? Well, that was the first seed planting that your vote goes overseas. This guy is supposedly a fantastic forensic guy that works with the government, that has former special ops people that do this stuff. Well, let me tell you about that guy. That was the first seed. And so that was when the Democrats were saying it was Russia, Russia, Russia. Got to put them together. The Democrats were saying Russia, 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 which we know is a lie. The guy on the right was saying, oh, you're right, it goes to foreign countries and they're changing it. So you got to put the operations together. The left was saying back then, oh, Russia stole the election. They did that. They said that so they could set up 2020. You have the right comes out and in their version says, oh, it goes overseas. Again, put them together. The left is saying it was Russia, 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 Russia. This guy comes out and says, well, you know what? Your votes go to overseas. Well, let's talk about that. Russ Ramsland is the fellow that got people to infiltrate my organization. Russ Ramsland was the one that put people on me. Oh, we're going to help you out or whatever, when it was a total setup. Russ Ramsland is the one that supposedly conducted the Atrium County stuff. And it all got screwed up. And the honest person in it, Matt DePerno, got set up for Matt DePerno. They tried to get him in jail. What happened with Matt DePerno? Oh, wait. How did this election stuff get out? So you probably didn't follow Matt DePerno's case. Matt DePerno had the right in his state to do it. He was approved to do it. He got the information so they could look at it. Who got in with Matt DePerno? Russ Ramsland. Going to have his experts look at it. Who were some of the experts? Well, Joel Ullman was there too and released the data. Doesn't that sound familiar? Joel Ullman's on record. I'm part of the red team. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Doesn't that sound fishy to you? But the one who was trying to take down was Matt DePerno. Take his law license, get him in prison. The same people that are still involved today were involved with Matt DePerno. Let's jump a little forward. The second seed, that's the Russ Ramsland guy I told you about. So you can put them together. What was this? What was the second seed? So you got this one. At the time, they're saying Russia, 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 Russia. You get the right saying, oh, we caught it going to overseas. We caught it going to overseas. Those are the origins. They're saying the same exact thing. Overseas actors did it. Now we go to the next event. What was the second seed that got planted? Put it in chat if you know what it is. What was the second seed in this whole thing that got planted? Well, the second seed that got planted came in September of 2020, September, October 2020. What was that? I infiltrated an Antifa call, and on that call was Dominion voting executive saying, don't worry, we made sure Trump's not going to win. Who is that person? Well, that person was Joe Ullman. You heard that name previously. So he got put on the airway. Nobody checked it. Nobody asked for evidence. Nobody asked to prove it. Show me. Let me hear the recording. Let me see the emails of how you got invited to this call. How'd you infiltrate? Nobody fact-checked it. He got inserted into all of the cases. Becomes viral. Everybody's now talking about Dominion. Everybody. $9 billion in lawsuits, over $1 billion plus paid in cash to stay out of it. And it never was real. Dominion made a fucking landfall. $1 billion fucking landfall. And everybody started screaming, I told you Dominion did it. So now you know Dominion. Well, what is Dominion? Dominion is identical to what the Democrats were saying. The machines did it, controlled by the foreign governments. The machines did it. The machines did it. Who confirms it on the right? Oh, it was Dominion. It was an Antifa call. It was Dominion. It was an Antifa call. Dominion. It was an Antifa call. That goes viral. He was also there at January 6th. So was Russ Ramsland. He didn't get arrested. So were a lot of these guys that claimed they were in election integrity. None of them got tagged or arrested, but they were there. Then you get this third seed. That was all earlier, before the election, those two seed plantings. Then you get the third seed. What was the third seed? Oh, it was the safest, most secure election ever. What was the fourth seed? Well, we got the Arizona audit, and we're doing it. We had to fight hard to get it. But all of a sudden, when we're really getting to audit, comes up, oh, cyber symposium out of nowhere. Cyber symposium, we got it all. What happened between the start of the audit, or the time we're going to get the audit, and that cyber symposium? Well, a few things happened, right? All of this stuff comes out and it changes us. The machines too, we got it all. It's foreign countries. Ironically, it was all the same people. Ramsland, Waldron, Blundell, all of them being managed by a known CIA operative. And so what comes roaring out that people focused on? The cyber symposium. Not the forensic audit. The cyber symposium. The whole world gets flooded with it's the machines. We got it all. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. But when it comes to the event, somehow it becomes the Tina Peters event. It never got any PCAPs. And then it shifted from the symposium. Oh, look at Tina Peters. Look at this. Nobody got played. Nobody got played. They all played, but nobody got played. Nobody got played. Nobody got played. And so when you're should be focusing on the paper and what's really there, you're now focusing, oh, it went to a country, and then all of a sudden you focus on Tina Peters. And we got it all, we got it all, we got it all, we got it all. And then 2.5 years or more goes by. It gets into court, only for Mike Lindell to admit in court he never had the PCAPs. They were never there. Never given, never real. But see, nobody pays attention to that. What's the common denominators from the beginning to end? Every one of them had somebody that came in as the expert to tell them what was happening, that when it got to court or lawsuits, well, I can't testify, I'm a protected witness. I'm protected by the CIA, or I'm protected federal witness. In every one of those. Is that a coincidence? Is that a coincidence? All of those people that were involved in that were January 6th. None of them got in trouble for it, got arrested. Is that a coincidence? Now all of those people, because they've been put in the road and out there, are in every single county, and they're the people you go to that tell you one thing. Full forensic audit was BS and there was nothing usable in it. When you know different. People don't audit. I've always told you from the beginning, audit even what your electors say. If the left said it's the machines, and then the right says, well, we got it. It was the machines. They did it. Do you understand how that's selling a message? Because if you focus on the machines, it's all voluntary and there is no enforcement action, and it is left to the decision of the governors and the attorney generals of each state. Why? Because you don't have empirical evidence. However, there's an interesting twist. When you have empirical evidence that shows how this happens, it's only then you get to the second half of the equation. You know what the second half of the equation is? When you got empirical evidence here and it shows it, and then the right ignores it and sells you something different, then you finally get the picture. It's a controlled uniparty. And unfortunately, we've all been through it. It's how it happens. It's what goes on. Now, why not look at it? It's simple. because both the left and the right go down. AGs go down. Attorney generals go down. Governors go down. Because they all certified it. And you have a blueprint that allows you to look at everybody and audit them. And you find out, nope, it's just the way the game was played, etc. You might think people didn't listen. It's not really that they didn't listen. It's that they were never going to listen because they were part of it. It's called amplified outsiders. In any part of it, did they amplify anybody who was really inside the system? No. What at the end of the day, what really got amplified? Outsiders. One saying that Dominion did it. Tina Peters was an amplified outsider who got victimized. Mike Lindell was an amplified outsider that people must believe because they've seen him on television every single day for a decade and a half before it, and he wears the cross on the outside of his shirt. Therefore, you believe him. They knew Mike would be trusted. Did you know why? Because he did hundreds of millions selling through TV, and you don't buy through television somebody to the tune of hundreds of millions if you don't believe them. And those people by the millions had already invested in him, validating him. For me, it's very clear. I don't think Mike got misled. And I know Mike didn't get misled. You know why? Because I told him on many occasions, here's where it is, here's the people, here's what they're doing to you. You have it all documented in public. I told it out loud. Here's what's going on. He didn't do anything about it. That was his choice. That was his choice. And all election integrity in a very big way has been controlled. And they use the same thing. If you don't wear a mask, you're a bad guy. If you don't support trans people, you're a bad guy. If you say that we got to get the ballots, that's wrong. It's the machines. They create these shun factors. They have to have it. They have to have it. Or the plan can't work. Remember, they don't need to execute a plan if nobody pushes back on it. I mean, that's the real deal. I mean, look, all they can say about the forensic audit is it didn't happen and there was nothing there. But those are just opinions, aren't they? Can a tech CEO or a pillow salesman tell you there was nothing usable in that? No, because they're not either a lawyer trained in it or a legal scholar. Dorchin, God bless you. God bless you for supporting what we do. God bless you for supporting our work. God bless you for, all of you guys that make sure the full forensic audit survives. And I tell people this, we're fighting hard to, keep all of this in a perfect chain of custody alive. We do that for a reason, because it's history. Okay? Hold on one second. Make sure I've got the right one. Hold on. They okay, guys, hold on. They do that on purpose. We live in a very wicked, controlled system. But us saving the evidence is something they never accounted on. And that's why, we've even been able to get this far. Our plan for the forensic evidence is a very, very, very simple one. We're keeping it ideally for posterity, right? Because this will be studied by scholars in the future. We'll be handing it over to the Trump Library because it will be studied in the future. All of this is about running out the clock and hoping you never remember. Now, for me personally, I'll never do another election audit. One is because they'll never allow it. And what they will allow will never meet my standards, so I won't be associated with it. So for me and my team, who I've incredibly protected, we won't do another one. We can't. They're not going to have it allowed. But it forever changed history. It forever even changed your understanding of elections. But that's how the system works. So our time in this, when it comes to elections, done. Right? Done. I've already told you what's going to happen. I already told you how it plays in 2020. We cannot take a check. Wish we could, but we cannot. It's the game. But in every bit of it, you're staring at the winning formula. And here's what I mean. They did not account on you getting up off your ass and voting when President Trump was in. More people voted. They thought they had the numbers right. When Hillary said they stole the election from her, meaning they had already stole the election, Hillary was going to win, and damn it, America's from flyover states did it. Get it? Try the link again. It shouldn't be an error 404. Try it again. There's no error on that link. Just hit refresh. Let me make sure I've got it. Everybody check that link. Unless I typed it wrong. It's there. Make sure. Maybe I didn't capitalize it. Maybe that was it. Hang on. Does the capitalization matter? Maybe it does. Let's see. Maybe it does. Don't know. Let me post it that way. Maybe the capitalization matters. Anyway, you already know you are what makes all of this work. And it's when you got off your ass and you voted for President Trump. They could not account for Americans. They controlled statistically how many people would vote. And yeah, some of these arrogant bastards, and that tells you the truth. When I prove in forensics, it was a predetermined outcome, here's how it goes, and they ignore it, that tells you the truth. The reason they ignore it is because they need you to focus on the machines. So when I say you want to see an algorithm, you want to see how it works, and you want to see how it changes the ballot, which is a felony and federal racketeering, here you go. The reason they choose to ignore that is because it's not about what really the results are. It's about the machines and keeping it in this theory part. That's just how it works. And so our plan for every bit of this is just to make it survive, that it goes to President Trump when he's out of people controlling him, which is out of election, in the library, so scholars can study it in the future. And there will not be one scholar who can disprove what we did. There will be debates. Wow, we found that his number was off here by 1. You'll see that kind of shit. Right? You'll see that kind of shit. Why do they do that? Because they have nothing. That's kind of how it works. Diane, thank you so very much for that. It all goes to election integrity. Thank you. But looking at it and looking at what the data says, it is what it is, what it is. It'll still verify everything we said. Whether the number's missing by 1, missing by 10, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. They'll go, well, I don't think that's quite right. And that's the only way they can try to do it. They'll make you focus on one little thing. And I'll give you an example. In every new science, you have to publish what's called a scientific reader. It wasn't that we were just doing a forensic audit. We were establishing a new forensic methodology in auditing. Computer vision, right? Machine learning, artificial intelligence. So you have to publish a scientific reader available to the entire scientific community. So we put that out there. We don't know how it happened, but evidently there was a typo. There was no T in artifact on the spine. That was something that Amazon, because it's the publishing platform, did. Because in our platform was correct. Somehow when the book came out, the T's missing. And so the fellow that is not an election expert, the Professor Clements, I sent him one. I didn't know he was a rat bastard yet. We sent him one to review. He came on and he basically said, we went all through this. It's total junk. There's nothing there. And look, there's even a typo on the spine. You can go find it. In fact, I encourage you to go find it for 2 reasons. One, you'll see the typo on the spine. That's what he focused on. But secondly, these guys saying they read it, the shrink wrap is still on the book. So how'd you read it? In fact, the only unverified review that we have not been able to remove is on that scientific reader that somebody posted on Amazon. They got an early edition version of it to look at it, and it was not true and it was crap. Nobody got any early edition copies. And Amazon won't remove that rating, even though it's an unverified one, and it should be away. That's how the system plays. And so for me, it just comes down to I love my country. I love that we gather here. I love that we can share. But, I am so simple. I'm not complicated. I'm as simple as they come. If I could be in bed at 8 o'clock at night, every night, I'd do it, right? I'm very simple. I don't party. I don't go out to big dinners and stuff. I have no need to travel. I'm forced to at times, but don't want to travel. Very simple. But this is about our country. They tried to kill me for it, and I thought they were going to be successful. I thought I would finally go over the edge, but I didn't, thank God. But I'm only one team player, and that's I play for Americans. That's the only team I'm on. I'm not on any political team. I refuse to be part of people's groups. Right? Somebody says, well, you should have this person review it and this person write up the review and let them present it. And then I think back, well, that was the person that set up Matt DePerno, and these 2 people were having an affair and it destroyed 2 marriages. And this person was there when the ballots were destroyed in Georgia. And I can't forgive those connections because those people were around and caused bad things. And you think I'm going to hand it over to them and they can just review it and they'll present it? No, I won't do that. It's all about truth. I don't care. The only thing that's important right now is whether you support America and our great, incredible republic. That's really kind of all that matters to me. I don't care if you're transgender or gay. You might smoke 1,000 miles of pipe a day. I don't give a shit. We can be in the same foxhole and we fight for this country. because that's all that matters right now. Nothing else. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent. And you can go back and audit me from the very first time many of you saw me in Georgia. I said, this is not about whether President Trump's the president or whether Biden's the president. It's just about what are the facts. The tables will turn. They will always turn. One side uses it this way. One side uses it that way. That's it. That's it. And so if that makes me a bad guy, then I accept being a bad guy. If not being a team player because I wouldn't, quote unquote, join Mike's team, I won't do it. You know, there's so much stuff behind the scenes. Well, Mike wants this guy to come in with his app and you got to be on my team, but you've got to give me the app. It becomes mine. That guy too. So fuck you. The hero in this story is America, following the lead of the hero, which I believe is Donald J. Trump. What it's not about is who has the biggest social media, who does all the interviews, who gets credit for it, who gets a presidential medal of honor, who becomes the next governor because they talked about election integrity. It's not about any of that. And a lot of these guys are running for office that intentionally fed you crap. That's not it. That's not it. Somebody says, well, why did Trump let Mike take over like that? Donald Trump has no say. If somebody wants to spend their money and their airtime and they want to claim they've got it all and whatever, that's them. President can't stop that. Why aren't you asking yourself the right question? How did somebody that does a show throw it to Rumble, which is how you're watching here? That's all they did. Throw it to Rumble, call themselves the network, get other patriots who are already talking, he'll come over, be part of our channel, then call themselves the network. They still just send it to Rumble through a piece of software that anybody can do. And all of a sudden went public at $150 million windfall saying they're a network. How does that work? Oh, by the way, all the people that got brought over to do their stuff, they didn't participate in that. How does that happen? And they had no views. They had no views. They had no views. Now, I better be correct. Well, we got one viewer. We got 200 viewers. How does that happen? How do you not even pick up the simple things? You look at Frank or Lindell TV, which Altman ran. Mike had 240 some odd thousand followers, and Joe had 240,000 followers. Joe's running the network, but you look at other big names, they were lucky to have 200 followers. That tells you right there something wrong. You can go back and look at these numbers. Mike had 200, let's call it 46,000. Joe had 246,000. All the other people, the big names, I don't think anybody broke really over about 1,200 followers. They really didn't have any views, and they got public. Joe benefited from that. Mike benefited from that. Joe and Mike parted ways. Joe went on his own and now can't drum up 16,000 people. You would think those 242,000 or 46,000 that were on Frank would have, where's Joe? I watch him all the time. He's the big cheese. That didn't happen. All of the data points are there. And then I look at it and I go, is there such thing as a CIA whistleblower? You know, the CIA cannot confirm or deny anybody who was a current or past member of the CIA. You know that, right? They can't. There's no such thing. So how do you have all this crop of CIA whistleblowers? If somebody was really whistleblowing on black ops taking over countries and stuff, am I just stupid to think they'd be fucking dead? Not on social media. That's kind of as stupid as people that tell you all the Q, and I've got 1 million followers. I'm going to tell you a super secret, but until I learned the hand signal is this. Radar, Indian, 2-2. That's the code. Remember it, but don't tell anybody I told you. And you're fucking doing it on social media and think you're part of a secret group? How stupid is that? Have you ever thought about that? How ignorant is that? But people believe it. And so I mourn for my country. I mourn for our children who are lost more than ever, our children and grandchildren. We lost men. Most 20-year-olds can't even change a tire or change the oil, grow food for themselves, hunt if they needed to. Ooh, guns. Fucking got a whole crop of Fruit Loops. And here we are. And so, yeah, I'm not popular. I'm not liked. But my definition of a good friend, here's my definition of a good friend. If you were a married friend of mine and you were fucking around and had a girlfriend, I would tell you, knock it off, or I'd choose not to be your friend. Because if you stand before God, your family and her family, and say to hold and protect and everything, and you're standing in front of God, so I'm so fucking, and you promise, and you're a rat bastard, no telling what the fuck you're going to do to me. I'm way down on the totem pole. And so I am the friend that if you were in a marriage and somebody was screwing out, I'd tell you. I've only had 2 friends in my life that were that brave. I love them to death. One is passed. That when I was in one of those marriages long ago, she was a rat fucking bastard, could suck the chrome off a trailer hitch. And everybody knew it. I only had 2 friends that told me the truth. You got to get out of this. You're being used. She got pregnant. She was my co-host on TV. And I only had 2 friends that looked me in the eye and said, yeah, I know you're in a tough situation. She's pregnant. But don't do it. It's going to destroy you. It did. Why? Because I did it. That's a good friend. And so in that, I'll leave it with this, is I'm a good enough friend to tell you the truth. I have nothing to win by it. But I do want to model it and reflect it. And even at times, if I'm wrong on something, you'll hear me say, well, I was wrong. I got it wrong. That's it. That's it. I don't think I've wasted my time, because I do believe that people in the United States now know more about elections than they've ever known. In fact, all the election integrity experts are quoting shit we found out and did and taught you about. And they quote it as it's old hat. They always knew it's bullshit. I can remember getting into this. I'm having to tell a sitting senator, you already have the right to do this audit in Arizona. It's U.S. Code 42, 1984, U.S. Code 52, 20-701, and it has the rights to keep it for 22 months. You have the right. Here's the law. They had no idea. No idea. But I accept I'm a weird loon. I'm so hated that my haters follow me just to give me thumbs down every day. Even my haters are loyal. But I will never be the party accepted guy. I will never be the one they herald, because truth is not valued. But when I go to sleep at night, I know I'm doing the right thing. And if this means I have a very, very, very small circle in the world, then that's fine. But I have a small circle anyway. I consider all of you that follow my program every day, and we're here. I consider all of you family, and I consider you friends. And I'd love if which we could all get together at a safe place and time. But in my real world, I have less than a handful of people, double handful of people that are really in my life that I absolutely trust and whatever, and that's me. And it's because I take that so seriously. Anyway, yes, Crystal, you'd be baking. Crystal knows. If she was around me, she'd be in a little French maid outfit, fucking baking me fresh bread every day, talking to me at that beautiful voice. Most of you don't know Crystal, but if you ever heard her voice, damn. That woman should be a voice actor. She really should. If she ever just wanted to sit home and bake, she should be going into the voice acting business, doing voices. You want to talk about a person that has a phenomenal voice and a trusting voice, I'd put you in a million commercials. That's what you should be doing, Crystal. And yes, you should be baking bread. And so if it means we met through a computer, that's fine. I consider you no different. I may not know your faces. If you want to send me photos so I can connect it to your faces. I remember faces long before I remember names. But this is the nature of the world today. So for all of you that participate in this, I consider you family and friends. Blood doesn't make family. Blood does not make family. Being loyal and being ethical, and that is what makes family. And we're all Americans. Although we have many multinationals here, I consider you too. You're a surrogate American. You're a American in spirit, just like we're Australians or Irish or whatever in spirit, because we're all in this together. This isn't a U.S. phenomenon. Ireland's already fallen in the UK. We're able to stave it off a little longer. But God chose you to be here in history, and I really believe that, all of us. Anyway, I love you all. I appreciate you all. We'll keep fighting. You keep fighting. All it's about is being truthful and getting to the truth and fixing it. Because I don't care what county or state you're in or what country. If your politicians are selected, not elected, we all get raped. And we should all fight against that. Anyway, I love you all. Nice just having a conversation every now and then. Stay warm. I know.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "it's the machines," or "the machines changed the votes," or "the voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.